Welcome to Crosby's Crew.
For us, Kohler isn't just a brand, it's a part of our story. My dad was an exclusive Kohler dealer, so I grew up knowing their commitment to quality and design.
And for me, I helped open Lodge Kohler in Green Bay, and we've celebrated some of our best memories there, like my 40th birthday at Black Wolf Run.
Kohler, Wisconsin and Kohler properties have always been our favorite places to relax, connect, and of course, enjoy great wine together.
So it feels full circle that Kohler Company, boldly innovating for over 150 years, is now part of Crosby's Crew, bringing extraordinary moments to everyday life. Cheers to that. One of the best things about this podcast is how it connects our love of wine with the people and companies who share that passion.
Like Perlick Refrigeration. We first crossed paths through Mason's work with Sartori Cheese and Make-A-Wish, where Mason met Jeff Schwager, who's now on Perlick's board and an investor in one of our favorite Napa wineries, Ovid.
Perlick has been setting the standard for wine storage for over a century, and their wine refrigeration is second to none, because great wine deserves perfect care.
We're proud to have Perlick as part of Crosby's Crew, keeping our wine at the perfect temp, from the first pour to the last drop.
Okay, so today's guest is Mark King. He's a Green Bay native who became president of TaylorMade Golf, led Adidas North America, and later took the reins as CEO of Taco Bell. But don't let the titles fool you. He's a guy who started out wanting one thing, and that was to sell golf clubs. And somewhere along the way, he became a leader that people wanted to follow. And he's also a little bit of a wine connoisseur.
Yeah, didn't set out to be that, but he ended up having a huge collection, and we are so excited to have him on the show. And I'm going to choose one of his quotes to start off and give our toast as we start this episode. So, do a good job and good stuff happens. It's the best of the Midwest. It's the best of Green Bay. That sums up Mark King right there. Thanks for coming on, Mark. Let's get into it.
I grew up in Green Bay where beer drinking, and you guys know this, having lived there for many years, is part of the culture of Green Bay. And I never really fell in love with beer or alcohol. I left. I went to college for 4 years. I mean, I'm not saying I never had a drink, but I was not really a drinker. I would have a beer once in a while. And then I moved to California, and I start my career with TaylorMade. Still really don't drink much at all. Couple beers a month. And then when I was 40 years old, I was the CEO of TaylorMade at the time. Somebody said, you should try this glass of Chardonnay. So I had some, and I'm like, oh my God, that's amazing. So I started going to Vaughn's grocery store, and you could buy this Chardonnay for $4.99 a bottle. I would buy 6 of them at a time. And I just started drinking wine every night with dinner. And not, I wouldn't get drunk on it, but I started drinking wine every night. But it was always this, I can't remember the name of this bottle, but it was $4.99.
That's so awesome.
And then about 10 years later, a golfing buddy opened this restaurant called Payon. And it's a French restaurant, and I lived pretty close to it. So I went there almost every night, 2-3 nights a week. And he had all these French wines, and I would say, he said, well, what do you like? I said, I don't know what I like. I like Chardonnay, but introduce me to more.
$5 Chardonnay.
So he started to bring out all these Bordeaux's and Burgundies and Sancerres and all these different things, and I didn't know what they were, didn't really pay attention because he always picked the wine out. Well, then I built a house, and I had this massive wine cellar or wine wall, and I ended up with 800 bottles of French wine. And it was.
And your friend, did he just curate the whole thing?
He just did the whole thing, and I just drank, and he had a little book, and he had all the stuff in there about the wine. But I never really took an interest in that. I just took an interest in drinking wine.
I love it.
And then I figured out that I think it was when I met you guys that you didn't have to drink French wines to have good wine. You could actually go to Costco and have a good cab. But I really learned that wine isn't really about it's how somebody's marketed it or how much it costs. There are wonderful wines out there for $20, $30 a bottle. And so and then I moved and I lost my big wine wall. And so then I went down to a couple hundred bottles, and then I really moved into Pinots. And then I found this Sauvignon Blanc, which to me on a hot day is like drinking Kool-Aid. I mean, you can go through that like nobody's business.
Gotta be careful.
And so now I have either a Sauvignon Blanc, a Sancerre, which to me is really the same, or a Pinot pretty much every night. And I think I'm addicted to it. I don't think I'm an alcoholic, but I'm definitely addicted because about 4 o'clock, I start thinking, okay, what am I going to drink tonight?
See, I don't have the golf connection that you all do. Golf isn't relaxing to me. And when I had cancer, my oncologist suggested taking up golf as a stress reliever. And I'm like, okay, if I think about it as a good walk, then I can be okay with all the debacle that happens when I'm holding a club. But I do think it's stress relieving because you're thinking about something else. It's a way to like shift gears. And so when you're thinking about what wine you're going to have at the end of the day, it's almost like a meditative process. You're thinking about the climate. You're thinking about the people you're with. You're thinking about what you're eating. Are you hot? Are you cold? Like, do you need to be warmed up? Do you need to be cooled off? And I think that it's so relaxing. And I needed it. We never really got into this, but I really struggled after our first child was born. I didn't realize all the different ways postpartum could look.
Right.
And I just stressed about everything. I just really overactive imagination and having a glass of wine with dinner became a really important part of like my parenting journey or just knowing the bulk of the work is done. It's time to focus on something else. So is that kind of how it feels for you when you start thinking about what you're going to have? It's just, it fills your senses.
It does.
It's relaxing.
It's an amazing thing for me. And I'm an early riser. I get up early. I go to work early. But I also get home early. I'm home somewhere between 5 and 6 o'clock. And I walk in that door thinking about which wine I'm going to have. And I open it. And then I always put some crackers because I don't like to have the first glass on an empty stomach. So I have some wheat thins or some Ritz and maybe a little cheddar cheese. And I just enjoy that first glass. And it's amazing every night. And I live for it. I love it.
I love that.
It's the way to make sure that a day isn't just reduced to work.
Yeah.
And that you're kind of savoring it. But I don't want to gloss over how atypical your wine journey is to go from grocery store to Bordeaux and then find your way back to kind of like Pinots and you did like kind of the flip flop, right? Or you did the flip flop of us. And that's when most people maybe kind of dabble in American produced wines or whatever, and then hop the pond, but not you.
Yeah. So let me give you an example. So this is a Flowers Pinot.
Okay.
Flowers, that's the name of it. It's from Sonoma Coast, so it's up in Northern California.
Okay.
It's about $27, and it is wonderful. But Molly, to your point, when I first went from Vaughn's Chardonnay to French wine, I used to tell all my buddies I got Bordeaux and I have Chateau, because one of my favorite wine, because Teresa and I had this at our wedding, Chateau Margaux.
Okay.
But this is one of those bougie ones, Mason. This is quite expensive.
Yeah, very nice.
But I drank these. So for 4 or 5 years, I was spending all this money every night. And then it's like, then I found Flowers for $27. And it's like, you didn't have to spend all that money and you can still have the experience. And the wine is there's so many wonderful wines. That's what I learned.
Well,
that's so awesome. I mean, that just speaks to your upbringing and Green Bay roots and like growing up in the Midwest and just your mindset, like, getting to know you all these years. It's like you've always just fascinated me just because of your approach to life. And but being in Green Bay as long as I was and we were, it's not surprising.
Yeah.
Like super successful, go out and chase your dreams, but you are still homegrown, like Green Bay Midwest guy that
not getting too big for your britches.
Yeah, that's just stuck. You know, it's like, this is what I grew up on. This is who I am, and I'm gonna do awesome, amazing things, but I'm never gonna forget where I came from.
Yeah.
And I want to ask you a quick question before we go back to that. But I want to know, when you say a wine is wonderful, what makes a wine wonderful to you?
Yeah, that's a really great question. And I'm not very sophisticated. Like my wife, and you guys know Teresa, she no longer drinks. So my drinking partner now is not drinking wine. But she got into it. We went to France a couple times. We went to Bordeaux, right bank, left bank, bought a bunch of wines. She could tell you a lot about the wine. All I don't smell, I don't twist it around. I just put it in. And when it's smooth, I would say, like for me, they're so big and bold. For me, they feel.
Okay, so you want it to be. That's why you like the Pinots.
And it's just smooth, and it just goes down easy. And then you can get a Pinot that's almost, there's not really much body to it. And I don't really enjoy that. So it's just kind of that in between the big cab and the really light Pinot that's got a little bit of body to it. But, honestly, somebody said to me, what's your favorite wine? And I said, the one that's open. So, I pretty much drink them all.
I love that.
So
that's what we're trying to do here on Crosby's Crew is that just like everyone needs to approach their wine journey with what makes them feel comfortable and like where they're at, not just, oh man, someone told me to look at this wine this certain way, and this is what's fancy and good, and so I need to go that way. Oh man, but that's really expensive, so maybe I can't approach wine right now. Yeah. No, approach it just like how you did. Go $5 bottles, and you find something that you like, and then get around people that will maybe
drink it with you.
Yeah, share with you and teach you something else.
All right, I want to know what golf club you think like a Sauvignon Blanc would be, and what golf club a Pinot Noir would be.
Like a member club or in your bag?
I think the Sauvignon Blanc is either the sand wedge or the putter. Because I think it's kind of finesse, and it's really, really important, but it's not, to me, the driver would be a big cab, right?
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And then I would say like a 3-wood or a hybrid would be the Pinot. So
I was going to say hybrid.
There you go.
Even though I can't hit it.
Set up.
I would never take a hybrid out of my club or out of my bag ever. Ever. I'm like driver, pitching wedge, putter.
You're all hybrids.
Okay. And what about actual locations, golf clubs? I like that too. I like the way you went with that.
Well, Mason and I had the just amazing opportunity to play Augusta. Did we go down and look at their wine cellar, Mason?
I do. I think we popped down there, but we didn't have a ton of time, as it was like, they were preparing the meal, and it's like, all right, we got to go sit down. But yeah, you definitely tried to show me all the spots as quick as possible. I would say you could go to some French Burgundy, some really Lafitte. That would be Augusta National, right? The most elegant.
Just as good as it gets.
I use the word bougie, not in a negative way here around Augusta, but just an elevated, beautiful experience. And then I would say that my Vaughn's Chardonnay was the club that I've been a member at for 38 years in Vista, which is Shadow Ridge Golf Club. It's the least bougie club of all time. There's a lot of munis that are nicer.
But gets the job done.
That's so awesome.
So that's what I would say. But yeah, that's really good. Yeah.
Well, now we're going to double down on your golf journey and take a little walk into yesteryear, because I do think a lot of people really want to know. That's what's crazy, is I think a lot of people want to emulate you. And after talking to you, I'm like, it's not something you could make happen. So when you were getting ready to pick colleges, it was golf driven.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you had some kind of like mentor golf club teammates in high school who kind of like charted a course for you. And that ended up kind of being everything.
Yeah. So I went to Green Bay West, played on the golf team. Probably my biggest golf accomplishment. I peaked at 14. Okay. I peaked at my athletic ability peaked at 14, but I played in the state high school tournament all 4 years, which was kind of unheard of because I played on the varsity as a freshman, a sophomore. Anyway,
That's awesome.
2 prior alumni of Green Bay West went to Northern Illinois, Terry Fitchett and Jeff Lawler. And I wanted to follow in their footsteps. And Jeff Lawler was a senior my freshman year, but he had convinced the coach, his name was Jack Phoenix, that if I came in the top 5 at the high school tournament, that they would give me a scholarship. And anyway, I came in second. So I ended up going to Northern Illinois, which was at that time a really nice golf school, top 25 in the country. We had an All-American on the team. It was wonderful. And I got there and I figured out I wasn't good enough. It was really just, so I played for 2 years, didn't play very well. And then I was working for this guy in the summer. His name was Eddie Langert. He had a golf center in Green Bay. So I transferred back to University of Wisconsin, Green Bay, worked for him. And then he and his best friend, Gary Adams, were the founders of the TaylorMade Golf Company.
That's so crazy.
So had I had a great career golfing at Northern Illinois, I'd probably be working for Mars selling candy bars or something. But instead, I graduate in 81 and the company's about a year and a half old or a year old. And they moved me to San Diego to be the sales rep. And it was just how the world works out, right? But it was wonderful.
Now,
that's so great.
What's interesting to me, though, is that golf was a passion, right? So you follow passion, you follow your heart, you trust people because, and I would also like to say, we're not sure if you graduated college, right? Like you were asked
really
back
not.
as an esteemed alumni.
Sure.
You were because you took off like right after finals and headed west.
I did. I took my last test and I drove to San Diego, and I don't know if I passed those tests or not. So I know I went to UWGB, but I don't know if I graduated.
That's so awesome. That's so
Just
funny.
great life advice for everybody watching, but not really. So, but we talked a little bit about what it meant for you growing up in Green Bay, because I asked you when we were chatting, getting ready for this, did you set out with this like greatness in mind of what you wanted to do? And we also discussed Mason and I's, we call Wisconsin sneaky awesome because there's just so many sneaky awesome things, people, industry leaders, companies.
Well, the fact that TaylorMade was like.
And you started talking about what growing up in the city that had the Green Bay Packers, how it affected you. Would you kind of run us through that together?
Yeah.
Those life lessons that, maybe you didn't go to college thinking I'm going to be a Fortune 500 mover and shaker, but you did have impactful experiences growing up in Green Bay, Wisconsin.
Yeah. I mean, when I look back, of course, when you're living in the moment, you don't think about it that way. But I was born in 1959. So in 1967 at the Ice Bowl, I was 9 years old, 8 or 9 years old, and right in the heart of the Packers, when they won 5 championships in 9 years, and Lombardi was there and Bart Starr. So all of us that grew up during the 60s in Green Bay had bigger dreams, just that life could be bigger than Green Bay because of the Packers. And every one of Vince Lombardi's quotes and how he lived, I mean, we all live by it, like Lombardi time. You ask me, why are you always early? Well, that's the way we grew up. If you're 15 minutes early, you're late. And that was kind of the way we grew up. And then one of my best friends was Bart Starr Jr. And he was a junior golfer. He was a little older than me. But we became really good friends. Then I became good friends with his dad, and we kind of co-hosted the Vince Lombardi Golf Classic. And but just being around Bart Jr. and Bart and seeing that life could be different than just working at the paper mill, right? And believe me, a lot of my buddies, they thought they hit it big when they got the job at the paper mill when we graduated from high school. But I think what's inspiring about that little community of Green Bay is, to me, it all stems from how amazing the Packers are in the world of sport and how big that brand is. I think it's inspired a lot of people to do really wonderful things.
Yeah. So like in the world of like business, so once you became, obviously you were a great salesman, and it's like, I could sit and talk to you forever just cause you're going to run and like, tell great stories and jokes and all that. But as you got into your journey and you started becoming president, CEO, all of those things, did you change it all? Or were you kind of always that same guy? Like, I'm just going to be a salesman as the leader of this company, or
do good stuff and good stuff happens.
Yeah. I just kind of want to pick your brain and just get to like kind of some insight into what that felt like when you got that first opportunity becoming a president and CEO of a major corporation.
Yeah, it's a really great question, Mason. And I have one for you when we get to your question.
Nice. All right.
But I think when you grow up as a salesman, you form really fundamental habits of success. You plan, you get up early, you outwork your competitors, you're curious about learning new and different things. You start to understand people like, geez, Molly's not in a good mood today. Well, I'm not going to ask her for a big order today because she's not in a good mood. And so you start to read people, and it just gives you things that you can apply, even though you wouldn't necessarily think, well, salesperson skills apply to CEO. Well, they do in so many ways. Then I think what was the big kind of evolution for me was going from being an individual contributor to leading, it's going from player to coach, right?
Yeah.
And so then it's not really about you as the coach. It's about getting the most out of each player and bringing the team together and complementary skills. And I've got your back. And so but I learned those on the job. And it's just really funny that we're having this, because yesterday I told Molly this story when we talked, that in 1992, I had a boss and I was VP of sales, and I had no big aspirations other than just continue to run sales at TaylorMade. And he challenged me. His name was Chuck Yash. And he challenged me that I think you could do more. You could because you have great leadership skills and you could end up running company. I bumped into him at the golf course yesterday.
No way.
It's such a small world. And he had moved away. He now lives in Atlanta, but he's back here just playing golf. But anyway, so I think the basic skills of a salesperson translate really well to being a coach, which on the management side. And then you have to learn, and I did have to learn, how to get the most out of people. But what I learned there is, if you can put yourself in the position of the people that work for you, and you're empathetic about their challenges and their struggles, and then I think they appreciate you as a leader, and they're willing to do more, not for you, but for the cause. And
that's awesome.
That's what I learned. And one more thing I learned. I worked for a European company. I worked for the Solomon Company that bought TaylorMade in 85. I worked for them for 13 or 14 years. And then I worked for Adidas for 20 years. And the Europeans are much more about the company and the team. They're not just about how much you make and what your title. I mean, yes, it's money and title, but it's really more about we work for the company, and if the company does well, we do well. And I think that's a better leadership skill than I'm the CEO, I make all the money. That really bothers me about the CEOs of America. They make so much more money than everybody else. And I understand why. A lot of pressure, a lot of responsibility.
You're on the hook.
But I really think working for a European company for 34 years really helped me understand how to be a better leader.
And it probably matched up with the values you had growing up in Green Bay, right? It's about the team. It's about the good of the Packers. It's not about, an individual player, even though you had some of the best players that ever played for the Packers during that time. It seems to really kind of to jive. But how did you end up? Golf is the passion. So when it's not golf anymore and it's apparel or sporting equipment, and then the fourth meal, like how does, once golf is gone, you loved being part of the team that much, or you were?
I think what happened, Molly, I worked at TaylorMade for 34 years and 14 years running the company from 2000 to 2014. And then Adidas was our owner. And when they asked me to go to Portland to run the Adidas business, I didn't want to go because golf, to your point, it wasn't a job. It was my life. It's what I did. It's who I was, or I thought. Yeah. But then I thought, I'm still a fairly young person here. It was 2014, right? I was still 55, 54 years old. I still have a lot of life left in me, and I could learn more. And so I said, I think I would do it. And then I had to rely more on leadership skills than I knew everything about the category. And I think that really accelerated my learning curve, because when you go to something, and Mason, you're probably going through that right now. You were a professional athlete for so many years. Now you're starting a new profession. Well, you got to be curious all over again. And how does this work? And so it forced me to learn a lot more. And then when I went to Taco Bell, I didn't know anything about food or restaurants or anything. So again, it made me learn and be curious. So I think in a lot of ways it kept me young and learning. And I think when you lose curiosity, that you're going to be sitting in a chair watching TV, while during your waking hours. And so for me, curiosity is really the driver of existence, right? Because it gets you up in the morning and excited, and you're learning and doing things. So I think that's what drove me, Molly, beyond golf.
Well, in that, we have a small but growing listenership, and one of Mason's former teammates, Lucas Patrick, submitted a question for you, and I think you did answer it, but just to kind of drive it home, his question was, it's a little different take on it. What is the biggest similarity between running TaylorMade, Adidas, and Taco Bell? He says there has to be a common thread that we don't see.
Yeah.
And maybe the follow-up question to that is, what's the common thread that Taco Bell saw in you?
Yeah, it's a really great question. But I'll tell you, it's way more similar than people would think. And here's what I mean by that. So first of all three categories, golf clubs, apparel, footwear, Taco Bell, make products for consumers. Different products, different consumers, but so the mechanics of the business are almost the same. So for example, if I ended up going to run the PGA Tour, we're not making products, we're doing partnership deals and TV rights. But
are you giving us a little insider info, or
are you speaking something into existence right now?
No.
I'm just kidding.
You heard it here first.
I
know you're trying to retire every couple days, but you just keep getting pulled all over.
So all three categories, you make products and you sell them to consumers.
Okay.
But the biggest thread is it's consumer centric. Everything starts with your consumer. You have somebody that likes fast food or Mexican food or tasty food. And so what do they like? Where do they go? What's their budget? Who are they? And then you go to footwear and apparel and what's your target consumer? And then you go to golf and who. So it starts with the consumer, and that really is the thread that goes across it. Like if you were in a B2B business to business, it's not consumer oriented, but all three of mine were really about the consumer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. Just being the salesman, just going out, finding what they want, how to market and sell to the people that are coming and buying the products. And that's right. What you've done best. And that's that's how you connect with people, is like you find out what makes everyone tick, and you just kind of go and you're alongside of them in that journey. And that's why, like you are invaluable in these president CEO positions, because it's just like Taco Bell. Yes. probably didn't make sense with where your journey was as far as a business.
On paper, maybe.
But then it's like they wanted to shift how they were doing things, right? And they wanted to bring some new initiatives in and all of that. And
specialty of yours.
And yeah, exactly. And so you just brought what was missing into that company, and that's what you've been exceptional at.
Yeah, and I don't know that we want to let you kind of slide on that one. Like, yes, you found a similarity that makes sense, but when I think about how I can apply that as a stay-at-home mom and part-time, wine enthusiast, would be that you found the thing that you understood, but you weren't limited by it. You kept finding different ways to apply it. Or it seems like there's a lot of freedom and creativity to go to what was needed next, because you were so creative. Now, do you know much about Paul Hobbs, the Pinot Noir? I'm guessing you do, but I did some research on him.
All I know is it tastes wonderful.
Wonderful. Not getting stuck on the roof of your mouth. So Paul Hobbs was a pretty serious innovator, and he is all about getting the most out of the region and the grapes. He was, I think, one of the first ones. Well, he was biodynamic, dry farming, all that sort of stuff before people used those catchwords.
Wow.
And, but he was singular and focused, which was doing the best he could by the grape in the region where it was being grown. And that feels familiar to me hearing your story.
Yeah.
Where it was like, you understand the role so well that it's like limitless possibilities. You're an innovator. Yeah. Rewind real quick though. One of our other listeners, Alan Emery, wants to know your favorite place in Green Bay.
Other than Lambeau Field,
of course.
It's Kroll's Restaurant, which is right across the street from Lambeau Field.
Nice.
Because
cheese curds.
Of course it is.
Of course it is. And every time I come back to visit, you guys are gone now, but when I come back to visit, our first stop is Kroll's. And if you had my two daughters on here and you said to them, where's your favorite place in the world? They would say Kroll's Restaurant.
Kroll's, I love that.
I will say, when we had less children, when people would fly in for a game, we lived so close to the airport and the stadium, I would call in an order and have cheese curds from Kroll's in the car when I got them from the airport. But.
Oh yeah, Molly was a great host. She was top notch. We actually, you'll appreciate this, when we moved down here to Nashville to Brentwood, we actually ordered and got Kringles
for all of our neighbors
from Uncle Mike's there in Green Bay to give to all of our neighbors here.
But I have to mention one more place, because it's really at TaylorMade. We have the boardroom. Which is where the executive team meets, and a lot of meetings go down when they have board meetings. And the name of that room is Brown County Golf Course. Because Brown County Golf Course still to this day is my favorite golf course.
That's your home track.
There, played golf, and that's where I learned how to play golf. And so I would say that's probably, I'm not very sentimental. I pretty much move forward, not backwards. but Brown County to me is really a part of my history and
oh, that's awesome.
I love Brown County.
It is a great track. And that's something about Wisconsin too, right? Is the golf, so unbelievable, and the public golf courses.
Yeah.
Like that. And like to have Brown County, and then you go down, and I mean, they built, Royal St. Patrick, you have Thornberry, you have all these public courses all over the state that are just unbelievable. It's such a unique place, and that's what makes it so, it's still my favorite golf state that I've ever been in, other than going and playing with you at Augusta. But that was.
So you don't know this, but I have a connection to three of the greatest kickers in Green Bay history.
Nice.
So,
take us through this.
Obviously, you, and I knew Ryan Long well before you got there.
Yep.
Great guy.
Not as well as I know you, but I did know him. But I grew up at Brown County playing junior golf Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Juniors could play from 6:30 till 3:30 for $1 a day.
Oh my
And
gosh.
the field goal kicker from the Packers, Chester Markle. Do you remember
Markle.
that
Oh my
name?
gosh.
Oh, yeah.
We know him
He
through the
played with us.
Lombardi Foundation golf event.
He played with us all summer long. It was
That's
awesome.
so great. That's so great. Oh, Chester, I think he's living somewhere up in the North Woods, like, just cruising around there still in Wisconsin. That's so awesome. I love that.
Okay, so we know your favorite golf course, but I know you're too humble to like get too into all that you accomplished. But what's your favorite thing that you did as a leader of people, as a leader of companies, or even maybe what was like your biggest challenge, the event or the problem solved, or what was your favorite thing that you've done business wise?
Yeah, it's a really great question. And so, I just had 3 amazing experiences. TaylorMade was this really long journey. And if you just take the time that I ran the company for 14 years, we built the company from 300 million to almost 2 billion, but it was a 14-year journey, and we changed the way the industry operated. So that was amazing. Yeah. Taco Bell, I managed it during COVID. So when all the restaurants were closing down, and we survived that. But I think from a success story for me, it was the time I was at Adidas, and I was there from 14 to 18, those 5 years. Our business went from 1.5 billion to $5 billion in 4.5 years. Yeah.
Okay.
But the brand was just really, none of the young people, because the Nike, Under Armour, Adidas, they focus on the 16 to 24-year-old kid. And we were not a cool brand. And it became one of the coolest brands. I mean, we had, Mason, you joined the team. Aaron joined the team. A lot of the other athletes in the NFL joined. And, we had Kanye West, as wacky as he became. We had Yeezy and all these.
Yeah, with the Yeezy, yeah.
But it was really taking a group of people, a large group of people that were defeated. And that was the people that ran Adidas America. Really heartbroken, no hope, and turn that into just this thriving, growing business. I think that would be, I would say, the thing I'm most proud of is what happened in that very short period of time.
Okay, so we'd all like to know how to be cool. So how did you do that? Like, was it that empathy where you're trying to think like, how are people figuring out where they get their clothes? What cues are they taking from culture? How do we be cool, Mark?
Well, I think what we figured out was that athletes, with all due respect, don't really make the brand cool. There are some, a handful, but as great as Aaron was or is, he didn't make Adidas cool. He validated that we had good product, but what made the brand cool was influencers like Kanye West. And then we had Pharrell, who did collaborations with us, and we had Beyonce. And so those celebrities, if you will, that are in the middle of culture.
That are moving culture, yeah.
That really changes the perception of the young people. Now, does it help high school athletes that Mason and Aaron and other athletes, Devontae Adams, that they're yeah, of course. And then you have athletes. But to be a cool brand, lifestyle brand, you really need cultural influencers. And we were fortunate. Kanye West, I think, was the biggest impact on the Adidas business, was him.
But you have Packers on your sweatshirt. So how did you go from that mindset of we get athlete endorsements? Why did you guys turn to cultural influencers?
Yeah,
nobody was doing that yet. This is like pre-Instagram influencing being a career. So how did you think of that?
Yeah, it's a great question. But
after some Chardonnay,
if you start with the consumer, and you go talk to 14 to 24-year-old kids, not just athletes, but high school kids, college kids, they don't know the shoes that Mason wears. They don't. No. If you're a kicker, you know damn well what he's wearing. But
small percentage of people.
But at the time, Kanye West was in the center of, he was an artist, not just a musician. but he was an artist, and we played on that, and he talked about Adidas gave me the oxygen to breathe, and so I could, fulfill my creativity. And we turned the brand, and I don't know if you remember this, Mason, but we called it the creator brand, and people could go online and create their own product and their colors and their styles. And so I think any consumer focused business needs to know who their consumer is and then talk to that consumer. And up until that point, and Under Armour is a really good example. Kevin Plank, I talked to him yesterday. He's the CEO founder of Under Armour.
Okay.
Yeah. But he's still talking to the high school athlete. Great, but Kevin, high school athletes, there's not enough of them to build a business around.
It's not moving it, yeah.
You need them to buy it when they're in college.
It stays stagnant because athletes, I mean, we need what we need. We need our uniforms. We need things to go and move out on the field. Like, it doesn't move in the lifestyle space. Correct. And that's the perfect word for what you did there at Adidas, was moved it from a athletic apparel company to a lifestyle brand.
Yeah.
And
keep going. Sorry.
No, you go ahead. Yeah.
Well, I was going to say, the year before you and I went to Augusta, I took Aaron, right?
Yep.
And he's a bougie dude. He flew in on his private jet. And when we picked him up, he got off the airplane. He had his Yeezys on, the Kanye West Yeezys.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, he didn't make those cool. They made him cool.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, he was wearing them. Yeah, for sure.
What's interesting to me is I'm hearing what you're saying about consumers, and it's affecting me almost as a parent right now. Because what you're saying you did is you step out of your shoes, and Mason actually, it's very frustrating, but he gives me very good parenting advice all the time.
I love it, Mason.
Very frustrating.
He also comes up with all the good ideas for the podcast too. Like, I don't know what my role is. I didn't even press record at the beginning. So we're having issues. But what I'm hearing you say is you're stepping into their life. You're stepping into their world. You're picturing, instead of, I feel like I focus a lot on trying to get my voice through to my kids rather than thinking about what their voices are maybe telling me.
Yeah.
And that feels like a...
I think it's, I think it's the number one thing for being a parent is not to impose your voice on them, but to listen to them. Now, you can't let them fall off a tall building without a parachute or without a net, but the more you can, and you guys will be challenged as your kids get older and they become, more opinionated, and you're seeing that now, I'm sure. But I can tell you, till about 30, it gets worse. I mean, it just. So I do think.
Cue the wine.
Yes.
But I think you hit on something. To put yourself in their spot, have empathy, listen to their voice. Doesn't mean you have to agree with everything, but I think it starts with listening.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm trying to get them to hear or speak my language rather than getting busy learning theirs, which it sounds like you did really well because you were a good leader. But what you did was you listened and understood. And so then it wasn't just what you could accomplish. It was what your team and the company could accomplish. And that's a lot more boots on the ground than just a really motivated CEO.
Yeah. I became, Molly, to your point, I became a better leader when I went to Adidas. And I became a much better leader when I went to Taco Bell for one reason. I had spent 34 years at TaylorMade. I had done every job. Industry, I had all the answers before I even asked the questions, or I thought I did. Yeah. Then when you go to a space that you don't know the answers to, you have to ask the questions. You have to listen. You have to learn. You have to use all of the people around you. And then you find, geez, the collective intelligence here is a lot smarter than just one person. Right?
Yeah. That's so great. That's awesome. Do you still get Adidas stuff if you want it? Like, will they do you have like a special card?
I do. I have a card.
Okay, good.
I have a card.
I like to think that you can just go in a store and you're just like, president, former president.
Well, they don't remember
CEO,
that,
sorry.
but they do recognize my card. So that's
good. Okay, good.
Ooh. Yeah, once Mason stopped playing, the special cards went away, but
I know.
I don't know.
I do just fine with the one in my wallet.
There's still a special card in the wallet that gets used quite a bit.
It would be fun, before we let you ask us some questions, it'd be fun to know your favorite TaylorMade product.
We're going to talk about
Adidas. We're going to get back to the wines. Adidas product and Taco Bell menu order, which, by the way, mine is spicy potato tacos.
I love that.
I love them so much. Extra lettuce, extra spicy
Every road
sauce.
trip, we are a Taco Bell family. It's like road trip. Molly, all of a sudden, she's just like, "Where's the Taco Bell? It's lunchtime."
I love it.
It's just so funny.
Well, my favorite product has to be the first driver we ever made was called the Original One. And that was 1980. And I was selling that product and it was $52 wholesale. And I made 10%. And every time I sold one, I went, ching, ching, $5.20.
That's so awesome.
That's a bottle of Chardonnay.
Exactly. There's a bottle of Chardonnay. So I would say that. $52.
Yeah, I know. Isn't that crazy?
That's crazy.
Should we blame you for how expensive golf clubs are?
Yeah, no.
Did you do that?
No, I didn't do that.
I didn't do that.
Let's see. Then my favorite shoe at Adidas was the Stan Smith. And he was recognized in the foot industry many years, or when I was at Adidas, and I was the presenter for him for the Shoe Hall of Fame. And
wow!
I got married to Teresa wearing a pair of Stan Smiths and a white suit.
Nice.
So, classy.
Of course you did. That white suit, that was probably popping.
Yeah. And then my favorite Taco Bell is of just my youngest daughter, Lauren. She loves Taco Bell, and my older daughter does too, but especially my younger daughter. But it's the bean burrito with green sauce, and
green sauce.
So, well, when I started, this is a little cute story. When I started at Taco Bell, my very first day, we have an all-employee meeting, and I say a bunch of things, and then there's a Q&A. And somebody says, "Mark, what's your favorite item?" And I said, "Well, it's the bean burrito with green sauce." And there's this, and I'm like, "Well, is that a problem?" And they said, "Well, we just discontinued the green sauce."
Of course. Oh no. That's
we brought
great.
the green sauce back, though.
Brought it back.
Nice.
Brought it back.
Has its perks.
Were you? Was that in your time when like the Crunchwrap Supreme became a thing?
Yep.
Did you create that? Because that's
First of all,
were you creating these?
I'll tell you what I wanted. When I went there, I said, "Hey guys, I think we should make cheese curds." So,
oh my gosh.
Start some cheese
Leave
curds.
it to Kroll's. Leave it to Kroll's.
So
Step away.
They experimented with some cheese curds.
Did they really?
Well, but they had them in the test kitchen. So when I went down for lunch, they made me cheese curds all the time.
Aww.
That's so great.
All right,
But
so
I'll tell you the product that we developed while I was there, and right now it is really driving their business, is this crispy chicken taco and crispy chicken burrito. If you haven't had it, it's amazing.
Nice.
Okay, I want to know which of these wines that we're drinking tonight you would pair with the bean burrito and green sauce. And which one you would do with the crispy chicken, because I guarantee you we're about to take a road trip.
Paul Hobbs.
Ah.
Yeah, that would go great with the bean.
I'm going
bean
the
burrito
Pinot with
green
the,
sauce.
Yeah.
We're gonna test that theory.
Chips and guacamole, then I would go Sauvignon Blanc.
Back to the Sauvignon Blanc. Okay.
So you just need both.
We'll course it out. And then we can finish with the dessert of the cinnamon crisps, because I really like those. But
I love those.
They're so good.
I know.
So are we going to talk about the wine for a sec before we let?
Well, I think we're going to let him ask us a question.
All right.
And then we're going to find out which one was our favorite.
Okay. All right, Mark, it's your turn to turn the tables and ask each one of us a a question. I don't
Okay.
know.
Or
So-
the same question to both.
Or
It's
you
fine.
can ask, we
right,
can see
I got
if
a
we can
few
answer it the
questions.
same
So-
way. Oh,
so-
yeah. You're ready for this.
I have a football question for Molly.
Oh,
I like
I'm
that.
ready. I'm ready. Oh, shoot.
She is. She's locked in.
Very opinionated.
So-
It's
She is
fine.
very
Molly.
opinionated.
How hard was it to watch the end of the game when your hubby had a game-winning field goal that he makes it, they win, he misses, they lose? Could you watch? Did you pray? How did you handle that?
Mark, it was so hard. My life is so hard.
Hard life.
But I did have a saying when he was playing, and it was, if he can kick it, I can watch it.
Okay.
And sometimes it was like this. And we always had kids around. Like, I really like to have wine with dinner, usually with food. So I actually never really drank much during games or anything like that, which in hindsight was maybe a poor choice.
Exactly.
With what I know now, that was a poor choice. But the thing that comes to mind for me is the Dallas game, the playoff game. And I was pregnant with our twins. I had decided to invite the whole team over, all the significant others and their kids. Our house was packed.
Yeah.
Have you ever sat in the terrace suites? They're my favorite. They're my favorite
I
at
don't know if I have or
Lambeau.
not.
They're my absolute favorite. And what they do, Mark, is it's not like normal suites. It's like they're indoor, outdoor,
Yeah.
and you share a buffet, and they theme the buffet for the opponent. And I thought that was cool. So I started doing that for away games. So we had a Texas barbecue spread. And I was just
course you
so
did.
regretting all my life choices when I have a house full. I have 13 pounds of baby in my stomach, and he has to kick all those long ones at the end, and he had to kick the 51-yarder twice.
Yep.
And I think I almost had a heart attack. Like, my left arm was cramping. My heart was like beating my throat. My house is filled with people. I could feel some of my friends there and stuff, like they were filming me while he was lining up to kick. And the joy, what I'm most excited about is somebody filmed Nolan and
Someone
his
filmed
friends
Nolan's
down
celebration.
in the basement, and the joy they had. But I almost passed out. There was often a lot of praying, but I would get really philosophical in the praying. Like, God, I know there's a lot I neglected this week, and I know that there's a lot of things that are bigger than this moment.
Oh my God.
But not for me.
But not for me. Please just give me the grace that whatever happens, that my reaction, glorifies
Whatever
you.
happens.
But you know what I want to happen right now.
Yeah, I'm sorry it was
And
so stressful. and
I'm
hard.
actually sweating.
I'm sorry it was
I'm
so
sweating
stressful
talking
for
about
you.
it. But then when we won that game, there was just a couple of teammates, significant others who didn't come, who were maybe a little bit more high profile. And they showed up on my doorstep, like screaming and jumping up and down. And
Love it. Love
that's
it.
probably one of my favorite things. Praying, thinking, stressing out. But I always
I
watched
love
it.
what you prayed for, to have the grace to handle whatever happens. I don't think
there was
you
a
meant
lot
that
of good
100%.
moments. I totally didn't. But God knew that I was just doing my best. He knew.
Well, you got to be able to, take,
But I will say,
have grace in the good and the bad.
that was
so.
one of my favorite things about watching with Mason's parents, because towards the end of Mason's career, I'm not proud of this, but I think
proud of this.
I think I let fear guide a lot of my emotion towards the end of his career. I got it was never bitter, but it was like, oh my gosh, we're on like the third holder of the season, or whatever it was, where I almost didn't want him to kick as much, and you can't be a field goal kicker if you don't kick field goals. And his parents
That is a thing.
were always like, yes, they're sending him out. I mean, like 17 years into his career, they were like, send him out. And I'm like, it's snowing and it's 50-mile-per-hour winds. They're like, let's go, Mason. And their joy really helped me. They always wanted him on the field.
Yeah.
And I was maybe a little too concerned about
optics and what was going to happen.
How it feel for the kids, or how he's going to feel, or is his leg okay, or all this stuff, and they kept the joy intact. The right thing, like your field goal kicker, you got to kick field gols.
That's beautiful.
Did that answer your question?
That was awesome.
It more than I thought. So just so you know this, Mason, I played high school football in Lambeau Field.
What?
Oh, okay. How'd that go?
We played. No, it wasn't quite the Lambeau Field. I graduated in '77, so it's a long time ago. And
so just the lower bowl then.
I played a skill position, long snapper.
Yeah, you were. I knew it.
Hats off. Did you watch when the kicker kicked?
Yes, and I can tell you, once I got to know Mason, the anxiety that you have when you know someone versus when you don't know them is like magnified by 10.
Mark, we hear
you could
this.
Disconnect before, and you're like, "It's my team."
We hear this a lot. We hear this a lot. That becoming friends ruined a lot of people's Packer watching experience.
It did. And
actually,
how they viewed
one of our other really good friends, whose name is also Mark. He was like a mess.
I know,
because he just cared so much.
It just you care. It's a different. It's a different feel.
It's so different. All right, serious question, Mason.
Okay.
So you were a professional athlete for longer than most.
Yep.
What are you going to take into your next phase of your life from what you learned during your professional football career?
Well, Molly told me to get a job, so
it's not.
Listen to your wife.
I said find a new passion.
I learned that through this time. No, but on a serious note, it was kind of wild. Like as soon as I knew my football journey and professional athlete journey was over, and it was a little weird because I had been so scheduled for so long, where it was like. You have camps, you have your routine, your off-season program, and then it's like you come into the stadium and you're every meeting, every practice, everything is scheduled. So I went through like a 6-month period where I was just like, you can't schedule anything for me. Like if I want to get a haircut, I might get one, like if I can get it that day, but I'm not scheduling anything because I might want to change my plans. So that was a weird thing. But then I started realizing that's not who I am, right? It's like, I was great at what I did and all of that because like what you said, the Lombardi time, those things where it's like, I showed up early. I was there. I was always present. I was consistent. I did did what I needed to do on the field and off the field as often as I possibly could and like at the best of my ability. So what I'm pursuing now and media and other endeavors and, I have some ownership in soccer clubs and, coaching my son's 8th grade football team and, chasing the kids around. Like I want to be passionate. I want to do those things with a passion and a drive that, got me to where I was in my professional sports career, because no matter what happened on the field, no matter what, like if I made or missed a kick, all of those things, I was always fully committed and passionate and driving that ship forward, and with a positive attitude. Like I tried to always be positive. And so I do see a shift in me back into like those things. Cause there was this 6-month period where I was just like, you know what? Like I'm going to try
a little bit of a child.
Yeah. I'm going to try not being all these things. And it felt like honestly, it felt like a hole. Like it felt like an emptiness in there.
Yeah.
So I do feel like that stir. And like you said too, like that curiosity and asking questions. Like I'm doing radio in Milwaukee, at the Fan Milwaukee. So if you want to check it out, if you want to get some inside Wisconsin sports stuff, jump on there.
I need it.
Our Brewers are on a tear, by the way.
Yes.
I'm sure you've been seeing that, but so like that, asking questions, trying to be the best version. Cause I think I was scared to step into something new.
Yeah.
Because of how much effort and energy I'd put into being a professional athlete and being just an athlete in general. So it was like kind of scary because I know myself. As soon as I step in, I have a hard time like just kind of dipping my toe. Yeah. It's like I have to get into the weeds. I got to do it. I have to be fully invested because if I'm going to be behind it, it's got to be representative of who I am and what I'm about. So that's kind of how I'm choosing to pursue things. It's like I'm not going to invest my time and energy into something unless I'm willing to put everything behind it. Yeah. And I'm being choosy in that because I have Molly and 5 kids and I have all this stuff. So it's like, what is worth my time and energy and how am I going to chase that? And I will tell you, Mark, I'm chasing down a professional golf career.
I wondered if he was going to bring this up.
So I played in this event in the spring and I got invited back. I'm playing in one down in, just outside of Mobile, Alabama at the end of August. It's called the Pro. And it's the 4 major sports leagues. I think there's going to be about 80 of us down there for this one. And I mean, it's kind of a marketing deal, an appearance fee in a sense, but there's a fee associated to it. Like you go out and you compete and you try to, like the American Century Tournament. So, and they're actually looking in 2026. So if you want to come out of retirement, you could maybe be the head of that tour. They're going to have 5 or 6 events with a championship at the end. You have to actually like qualify and get a tour card for this thing. So
that's amazing.
I'm chasing that next pro career, and it's called pro golf. Yeah. So
he talks more about this.
I'm telling you, you have the game for it.
It got a little rough when we moved to Tennessee because we couldn't get into a club right away. I was playing some golf, but I wasn't practicing much. And you know how that is. Like, it's weird practicing golf, like practicing anything makes you better at it. So it was like, finally got to join a club, got to do all that. And it was like, I was like the worst handicap I had been in like a very long time since I started like really playing golf.
This was the real crisis.
This was a crisis. This was an identity crisis. It's serious.
I heard about it a lot.
I'm like, I am so bad. I was buying new TaylorMade driver. I was buying new clubs all the time. I'm like, it has to be the clubs.
They were not $52.
These clubs are not working.
Yeah, they were not $50.
No. But you probably implemented this, a great trade-in program. But finally, it was like, oh, weird. Dive into what made me great playing football and like playing like sports forever. Go practice. Do the things that are annoying and like kind of tedious. Just do those over and over again. It was like, oh, weird. I chipped and putted and like just did all the kind of boring things. Yeah. I just went out like every couple days and I would just be on the range, just working on those things. And oh, weird. All of a sudden my handicap, goes back to what it should be. I'm playing some good golf. I'm making putts all over the place. It's that kind of stuff. It's getting me excited to kind of chase things again. Yeah.
That's awesome. Those are my questions.
You can write down
I love it.
All right,
Thank
Mason,
you, Mark.
write down your favorite.
Up.
We're going to show you which one of the wines was our favorite.
Ooh.
This is a Crosby.
Yes, thank you for these. For your suggestions, and I love thinking that you're drinking, this, Paul Hobbs, and you're having a nice, glass of Sauvignon Blanc, every night. Just loving life.
I really enjoyed diving into these wines that you picked out, and I really appreciate your approach. Mason tells me if I could get a good approach to golf, like my stance and everything, that the game would be a lot more enjoyable. I don't know if I'm there yet, but I'm really cemented in like the approach to wine. And I love your approach to wine. Just figure out what tastes good to you. Trust people who give you recommendations and just kind of let the rest work itself out. Right.
Yeah.
All right. You want to see our favorite?
Sharing life together.
What'd you say? Oh, I'm Paul Hobbs too.
Oh,
there you go. It's amazing. It's amazing.
And you suggested the Russian River Valley, Paul Hobbs. Do you try all of them, or is that your go-to?
But I don't taste a big difference, to be honest, guys.
Okay.
So I go with the Russian River. That's what I go with. So
it's excellent. I feel like I've tried a lot of wine. in my day, but I hadn't tried this Paul Hobbs. So it was great when I went and found it. We love it.
Before we go,
give us some more.
Okay. This one, Walt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I've
not very expensive. Fantastic.
Okay.
Okay. Walt.
Okay.
What else you got for us? Anything else?
You give us your rundown.
Kistler.
All right.
It's a little more expensive, but it's okay. This is like really, really nice.
Really nice. All right. Where is that from?
It is from Sonoma.
Okay.
So there's a theme here. And then this one, there's many. This is another one, the Costa Brown. Have you had this one?
Oh, love the Costa Brown. Yeah.
Yeah. So these are a little more. I don't do these all the time because
the Costa Brown, is a little pricier.
$100 easily. But the Walt and the flowers, to me, for the money, are just fantastic. And then the Paul Hobbs is right in between price point between the ones I showed you. So those are my wines.
The thing for me with the Paul Hobbs is once I learned what a huge impact he had on the winemaking industry. See, I love to read. And part of relaxing with wine is like having this storyline or this thing that can just kind of take my mind off of what I was worried about for the day or anything like that. And I can guarantee you, I will not ever have Sancerre or Paul Hobbs or maybe even Pinot Noir in general or see a hybrid golf club without thinking of you now.
I love that, Molly.
And we really, really appreciate what you're bringing to our listeners just to encourage people. My big takeaway from this conversation is drink what you like because you like it. Don't be afraid to get input from other people and kind of let them steer the ship or help pick the bottle and just be consistent about knowing yourself and having a good time, doing great stuff. And doing a great job and just let the rest kind of work itself out.
See you at the helmet here.
Oh yeah. Man, maybe we should get a helmet.
You have all the stuff. Yeah, I know.
I got it all, guys.
I have my Lambo Elite picture up on the wall on the other side of this
That's
room.
where he does his...
That's where I do my radio show. So,
okay.
But maybe, we should have some Packer stuff.
Something.
All right. I should just wear a helmet and try to drink wine
You might
every
need a
episode.
straw.
Very hard.
Through the helmet.
Very hard.
I know you've tried.
Sounds like the voice of experience.
I've tried.
That sounds like a tailgate.
Hey, really appreciate you. Cheers to you.
Cheers, guys.
Thank you so much, and can't wait till we get to have a glass of wine or a bottle of wine together.
Whatever we open, right?
In person next time. Really appreciate you, Mark.
Thank you so much.
Okay, guys, take care.
Man, you're awesome. I really
so are
learned
you
so
guys.
much.
You're amazing.
No, don't stop. I learned so much. I appreciate it. People are really excited that you were going to be recording this episode with us. And being as we have 50 followers, don't worry. I'm going to learn this whole social media thing. I'm curious.
You'll get it. Just keep.
I'm curious.
You know, most of these podcasts are so manufactured. Let it be you two. Let it be raw. Let it be authentic. And it's just the right balance between wine and the story. It's really nice. It's refreshing.
Well, you're going to make it really hard for all of our subsequent guests because that was awesome.
Yeah. Love getting to run down all your adventures and all the things. So, Mark, come to Nashville. I know you got to.
I'll come to Nashville. I'm not coming while it's hot. I'll come in the fall.
Fall's better.
Fair enough. It is really hot right now.
All right, man. Well, I really appreciate you, Mark. All right, we'll talk to you soon.
Who you share it with.
Well, that's it for this pour. Thanks for spending time with Crosby's crew. If you tried one or all of the wines from today's episode, we want to hear about it. Head to our socials and let us know which one was your favorite and why.
Curious about what we're tasting next? Check the lineup and send us your questions. We'll be answering them in the upcoming episodes. Nothing's too nerdy or too simple. If you're wondering, someone else is probably wondering too.
And hey, before you go, just a reminder that drinking and driving is never okay. Please enjoy wine responsibly. Always have a designated driver lined up before the bottles open and consume in moderation.
Until next time, cheers from the crew.